This woman is fighting a dangerous war for the rights of Afghan women.
How can a woman who is raped be sent to prison?
She has a powerful personal motivation.
You know what it's like to have been made to feel helpless by a man.
A single mother's campaign to change lives, one woman at a time. Earlier this week, the Obama administration replaced its top general in Afghanistan with a specialist in unconventional warfare. That means, in part, that the new commander will try to defeat the Taliban and al-Qaeda by winning over the local Afghan population. He may have an unlikely ally, another American who has already been fighting the Afghanistan war, only on a different front and for different, very personal reasons. As the warmth of spring unfreezes ice-blocked trails on Afghanistan's border with Pakistan, for centuries stamped into mountain passes by warriors, armies, and empires, the war is entering a new and dangerous phase. The Taliban are creeping back into Afghanistan's heartland, many from Pakistan, bringing with them brutality, blowing up schools, cutting the ears off teachers, and abusing women.
The Taliban can literally come in and crush any hope of opportunity and any hope of a real sustainable life. The need in the rest of the area of Afghanistan and Pakistan is still immense.
American Shannon Gulpin is waging a private and personal battle for the soul of Afghanistan. She believes the war can be won on another front, with education and women.
If you educate a woman, that will change lives. The military is not going to change the communities long term. Education can change the communities long term.
Shannon is part of the ripple effect of the man who inspired her, Greg Mortensen, who's been building schools in Pakistan and Afghanistan for 15 years. He co-wrote a bestseller called 3 Cups of Tea about how his work has changed remote village communities. The book also changed Shannon's life.
It was the moment that I realized that here was one person that had no skill set in this particular area. He was not a philanthropist. He was not a school builder. He was not a construction worker.
He's a mountain climber.
Exactly. And I totally resonated with sleep in the back of your car, sell your things, and go build a school.
So, in 2007, Shannon, a 34-year-old sports trainer and competitive mountain biker from Breckenridge, Colorado, launched her own nonprofit called Mountain to Mountain to support Mortensen.
This has been a real labor of love.
She raised more than $100,000 to build 2 schools in Pakistan and funded development projects in Nepal. Then, last year, Shannon, a single mother, went to Afghanistan on her own and was shocked by the images she saw and stories she heard. Mothers begging in the streets with their babies, children hooked on heroin and opium, people beyond desperation.
There's 14% of Afghan women that are educated in this country. 14% kind of blew my mind. And they then are in a form of enslavement.
Just recently, Shannon returned to Afghanistan for 3 weeks, again by herself, with an innovative idea. She would not only try to build schools for those with little chance of getting education, she would try to bring teachers and classrooms to those with no chance. Braving Afghanistan's most dangerous alleys and booby-trapped roads, routes seldom traveled by Westerners without heavy security, Shannon rode on the back of a dirt bike in search of Afghanistan's most needy. First stop, a private drug rehab center for women. Here, Shannon met Fahima, just 18 years old, a mother of 3, trying to break her opium addiction. Fahima's boss at a carpet weaving business forced her to take the drug to make her work harder, she tells Shannon, and she got hooked.
They're just being told, this will help you stay awake, this will help you be more productive.
Many of the women at this facility have children, and though they get on-site daycare while their mothers undergo detox treatment, these little ones are some of Afghanistan's most vulnerable.
If the women are just left to fall through the cracks, that knock-on effect will just mean that the children grow up heroin addicts. The children will still stay in the streets and beg. There won't be any change to their lives.
Her next stops were at prisons, where women inmates told her wretched stories of injustice.
We've seen women that are in jail for being raped. One of the women in particular was raped by a family member while her husband was away working in Iran.
Shannon says once the story got out, the woman, 18-year-old My Mama, was accused of adultery, and of bringing dishonor to her family. She was convicted in a local court and sentenced to 3 years in prison.
How can a woman who is raped with a 10-month-old baby be sent to prison and the brother-in-law, the rapist, goes free? Simply because there's no justice.
And the injustice doesn't end there, says Shannon.
She's now been disowned from her family, so she has nowhere to go, and her husband has said when she gets out he will kill her.
To learn something.
Shannon made a third stop to Afghanistan's most helpless, to listen to the plight of deaf children.
There's 10,000 deaf children in Afghanistan. These kids are just, again, falling through the cracks. They have no contact with the rest of the world because no one knows how to communicate with them. Often they're shunned by society, and often they're treated as though they're stupid, and they're not. They simply can't hear.
Shannon decided then and there to help, convincing a local landowner to donate nearly 2 acres of land, the site of a new school for the deaf. And she arranged to bring teachers to the drug rehabilitation facility and prisons. She may be just getting started, but her course is unwavering in spite of the danger. 2 weeks ago, a car she was in was stopped by the Taliban. Her driver was beaten. There are many places in the world where things aren't fair.
Yes.
Why Afghanistan?
For me personally, just because of the oppression.
But why are you willing to take the risks that you take to do this work?
The best answer is just because I have to, and because if I don't, who will?
It's not a good enough answer.
Okay.
A lot of people want to change the world, but not everybody is going to take a risk, and risk, as you say, the possibility of saying to your 4-year-old daughter goodbye for the last time.
Well, I was very lucky in that. Is this going to be a Barbara Walters moment?
No, it is not. But I think that if you're saying that we have to be transformed, then we have to be honest about what transformed you.
Then, okay, the positive is I had an amazing, very middle America upbringing in North Dakota. I had a very strong family, and I can remember from a very young age, I would have Post-it notes before I went to school, just that you can change the world.
But there is a painful admission Shannon rarely shares, which has become a more powerful motivation for her cause.
I moved out when I was 17 and moved to Minneapolis, and while I was there, I was attacked and raped. I was the victim. In Afghanistan, if a woman is raped, she is often put in jail. She's not viewed as a victim. She's viewed as someone who needs to be punished.
You know what it's like to have been made to feel helpless by a man.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And so you can't bear to see another woman routinely without justice.
Mm-hmm. I think that's exactly it, without justice. There is no justice for women and young girls. There's no one advocating for these women.
Shannon Galpin says she will for as long as she can.
I will be on my deathbed, wanting to be involved.
And what is it you want to see?
I would like to see that if it's by the time I die, which God willing is many, many decades from now, that the women of Afghanistan have the same rights that my daughter does. That would be ideal. And that my daughter understands how important the opportunities that she has are.
So no one has to feel powerless and afraid.
Yes, you can control your own destiny.
And if you would like to know more about Shannon Galpin's organization, Mountain to Mountain, you can visit our website. The address is dateline.msnbc.com.